South Africa's first major test of land expropriation without compensation is heading to court. The 34 acres of land in question is at portion 406 of the Driefontein Farm, and it's valued at between 30 and 64 million rand. The City of Ekurhuleni wants to build social housing there. Let's talk now to Sakeliga CEO Piet Roux, who joins us tonight. Piet, good evening to you. Always a pleasure talking to you. What are you hoping we as South Africans, we are going to get out of this first test case of expropriation without compensation?
I think we should all work very hard to contribute to making sure that market value is the compensation that is provided to the owners. You know, the cheapest way to expropriate land is at market value. If you go below market value, that's the most expensive way, and then everybody in society pays a cost. It means everybody will be poorer, there'll be less development, and there'll be political, social, and economic crises waiting for us. So it's really important to restore market value compensation for that expropriation. That's in everybody's interest.
You seem to be following this case very closely. For viewers who may not be aware of the merits, what can you tell us at this stage? What is at issue here between the municipality mentioned here and indeed the landowner?
In 2018, the landowner was busy trying to develop the property. It was applying for development right, township establishment. Initially they got it, but then it was appealed from the community, and during that appeal process, toward the end of 2018, the Ekurhuleni City Council resolved to expropriate this property at zero compensation, explicitly saying that they want a test case. In the course of 2019, this expropriation happened. The company, the owner, said, well, we won't contest the expropriation. If you need it, as you say, then that's fine. But the city then just refused to make an offer. And then after some court processes in the course of 2020, the former owner forced the city to make an offer. That offer was then for zero compensation. And the city said that it's zero because it's for social housing, and because social housing is in the public interest, and because the city does not want to pay, therefore the compensation should be zero. And the intervening period has been a back and forth. The company is trying to keep this out of the news, just settle this amicably, but now there's no way around it. It's heading to mediation next month and then to an 18-day trial in February next year in the High Court.
Yeah. What would fair compensation look like for Sakeliga? You're not an interested party. I guess I'm just trying to get your understanding of it. The figures I've mentioned here, value of 30 and 64 million rand is what this farm is estimated to be. What would fair compensation look like?
It would be for the court to determine something around market value. You have to start somewhere, and you start at market value. The City of Ekurhuleni started at zero. The company said, we have estimations of market value and we'll have a discussion around that. But the city just says zero. So it's a political motivated decision. From Sakeliga's perspective, it is crucial to maintain market value as the basis when the state decides to expropriate. Like I said, that is the cheapest form of expropriation. Anything significantly below market value is very expensive, because all property of the same type around the country will decrease in value. The owners of that property, whether it's pension funds or real estate investment trusts or individual owners, they will all share in the decrease in value, and that will have international ramifications. So really, it's in everybody's interest to pay market value. Whatever that is, that can be a cool and calm discussion. But to have that discussion, the city first needs to be willing to do so, and currently it isn't.
Yeah. There was a conversation at some point about use it or lose it. Do we know at this stage whether this land was being used productively?
Firstly, land, it's impossible to develop all land in the country at the same time. Land that doesn't have buildings on it, like nature reserves, or land that is being timed for later development, these are all very prudent, possibly very prudent investment decisions. So we must be very careful to try and force people to do something with the land that could lead either to natural destruction or it could lead to malinvestments and so on. In this case, none of that even applies because the development property was in the process of being developed, and we must recall that the city said it wanted to use this for urgent social housing. It's 7 years later. I was at that property last week. Nothing has been built on the property. If it was up to the owner, something may very well have been built. They were planning to put housing developments on that site. And also, it's not an easy site to develop. There are sinkholes on the one side, there's a mine dump on the other, there's a wetland. It would be very costly to develop, but the owners were in the process of putting that development together, and the city has done nothing. So in fact, the intervention of expropriation, especially the intervention of expropriation without compensation, has caused a decrease in housing compared to what it would have been if the city had just stayed out of the business.
Yeah. As you say, as a final question to you, you say this is the 7th year. Basically, this case, this dispute has dragged on for 6 years. Mediation now, we hear, is scheduled for October this year. And then there will be an 18-day trial set for February 2026. That's a report from Business Day. How quickly should matters such as this be resolved?
It's actually unacceptable to have a 7-year delay. I mean, these are millions of rand of wasted legal expenses, opportunity cost, management time, etc. I think this is one of the reasons why the 2024 Act that was assented to by President Ramaphosa, the new Expropriation Act, is so unacceptable. Because even though this happened under the old Act with much stronger protections, this could drag on for 7 years. Under the new Act, the dragging out will be much longer, the expenses will be much more. So I think it's unacceptable to waste people's time and money like this. And unfortunately, this is one of the reasons why, even though Sakeliga will not be involved in this case, this is a private matter that the owner is pursuing for recourse, for compensation, we will be involved in our own application during the course of October against the 2024 Expropriation Act, because if that act is allowed to stand, we will see many more examples of this with a lot of value destruction.
Piet, thank you very much for your time, CEO of Sakeliga.